Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with another movie review. Now this movie was brought to me by BET Plus, and I believe they just dropped it like a day or two ago, and it's called Hello. So it stars Eva Marcel, and she's a flight attendant along with her best friend Nicole, and they're on a plane doing their job while Nicole is like in her flight attendant uniform. Um, Alicia is her name, Alicia Gregory. She's dressed in casual clothes because I guess she's actually done with her shift, so she is on her way home. So she's sitting, listening to her music, and she's sitting next to this guy who happens to be a coffin, a coffin designer. Yeah. So she's being nosy looking into his computer, and he's literally has a coffin on his screen. So she starts talking to him and they converse in the conversation. And when he told her that he designs coffins for everybody, and he had this little play on words of a joke that he said to her, and at first she was just like, yeah. So eventually she was like, listen, I'm about to get up and go to the bathroom or stretch my legs, whatever the case would be. So she goes up to where her friend Nicole was, and they start talking. And Alicia was like, why did you sit me next to this guy? She was like, well, listen, you haven't been on a date since her last relationship, which was her ex-boyfriend, Troy. So Nicole said something to her. She was like, dumb people don't know that they're dumb. And, she just played it off like, listen, I'm going to the bathroom. Alicia, I'm going to the bathroom. So she ended up walking to the back. And there was people in the bathroom. So she started putting on her music. She put on this favorite song that she likes to help calm her nerves and stuff like that. So she put it on. And lo and behold, she's standing in front of this guy who's also on a plane, supposed to be going to visit his mom in LA, because I believe Alicia and Nicole lives in LA, but since they're flight attendants, they travel all around the world. So that's that. Eventually, Alicia standing there waiting to use the bathroom, and he ended up singing the song on her phone called Hello. So he engaged in conversation with her, telling hello, hello, hello. And then he does that waving gesture, and she eventually looks down, we're like, okay. And then she starts talking to him. So he introduces himself as Daniel. And, they converse in the conversation. Before the flight ends, he ends up giving her his number on a napkin. And she was like, you don't got a business card? He was like, I thought this was my business card. His number literally on the napkin. So Nicole lets the plane know and everybody that, they're starting to head into LA. So yes, time for them to get back to your seats and buckle up for a safe landing. They do so. They all get off the plane. Alicia, because Nicole, she still has to work. She don't get home to the next day. So she didn't go home with Alicia. So Alicia is walking through, again, the airport. And then eventually she walks through the building of her home. And one of her neighbors is a police officer or a veteran police officer. So, like, she got her aunt. No, her name is Miss Valentine, but her nephew is also on the force, which is, he calls her aunt. But the nephew been trying to get to Alicia because, they always see each other in the building. So it's just like, well, they was also planning a party for New Year's Eve. So she literally got home New Year's Eve. And before that, Daniel, he offered her for dinner and drinks since, they, got there, whatever. So she said, I'll think about it. So she ends up going to her house. She starts to unwind. Oh, Miss Valentine also asked her to store some cases of champagne in her fridge because they got enough and she couldn't fit it because she got enough. So Alicia agrees. She takes the wine into her house. She goes home to unpack and unwind. The house is a little disarray because they're in the process of painting and remodeling and stuff like that. So she goes home and she unpacks, like I said. She takes her bath. She pops her some popcorn. She ends up taking one of the wines from Miss Valentine and, just having a good time with her music. Then she decides to like, maybe I should text Daniel, maybe I should not. So she ends up texting him and they agree to meet, I think, downstairs at the bar or somewhere close by to her house. And, she gets ready. She goes down and she has a table ready. And, she just sitting there drinking her wine, champagne, and he doesn't show up. So it gets past like an hour or so, and then the stewardess, the waitress at the place, says, like, listen, there's a couple that really needs this table, and your guest's still not here yet. So Alicia was like, well, do you need to date to sit at the bar? She was like, no. So she ends up letting the couple take her table, and she goes sit at the bar. So a few minutes later, Daniel walks in with his bag and his coat and stuff like that. And, she was like, listen, I ain't got time for this. I'm about to leave. He was like, well, let me explain. Let me explain. So eventually they end up getting another table. He pays for this table. And, she said one drink. Okay, one drink ended up turning into a whole entree appetizer situation. I think they're there for like an hour or two. And then eventually Alicia takes her and Daniel back to her place. They go in, they have some more wine. She said, I'll be right back for a few. And he starts scoping out the place. She goes to change her clothes. He ends up going to, I think, the kitchen, whatever, to get something to drink as well. She comes out in like this red negligee, I guess hoping, to do, whatever the case would be. Then next thing you know, things get twisted. He says some things to her, and she mentioned the party. She invited him to the party, but he was like, I hate cops, right? First of all, how would she know if y'all just met on the plane? So they start talking, and then she says something. Next thing you know, he knocks her out. And then she's tied up to this chair in her living room. And now the tables have really twisted. Because now she's like blindsided by all this. She don't know what's really going on. And he was like, well, listen, I was in the cell with your ex-boyfriend. And he starts talking about, like, he basically knew everything about her because obviously he was in the cell with her boyfriend. So I guess he was there when Troy was reading the letters out loud to himself. So he basically heard everything that was going on. So it was like, where's the diamonds? And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. You got me mistaken. Your boyfriend said that you have $2 million in diamonds. And where is it? So basically, he's basically torturing her and stuff just start going left. So eventually it's Miss Valentine, they go downstairs and the nephew starts asking for the wine. But he really wants, talk to Alicia, like to be her boyfriend, whatever, case like that. But he eventually convinces his aunt that they need more wine. So the aunt was like, yeah, you could go downstairs to get the wine. And he ends up going to Alicia's house. He knocks on the door. And then Daniel was like, oh, snap. So basically he ties up her mouth and he puts this blanket over her because her apartment, it looks like stuff has to get painted. So it was like a perfect disguise. Just think that it was a chair there covered so that paint and stuff would get up there. So he did that. He went into the bathroom, changed his clothes as if he was taking a shower, put on a robe, and then he goes open the door for the nephew. I think his name is Marcus. Okay, Marcus. Open the door for Marcus. And Marcus was like, look, I'm here to get the wine. So he comes in with the hand truck and Marcus asks where was Alicia. He was like, and Dane was like, Alicia's in the shower. But mind you, When he's standing in like the doorway entrance, you can see the bathroom. He left the door open. So he already did a quick glance like, yeah, something's up, but he just couldn't put a finger on it. So eventually, Daniel gets all the cases of champagne and put them on the hand truck. And he was like, I hope you don't get mad because, we decided to drink some of the bottles. He was like, nah, I'm good. I mean, I should shoot you or punch you in your face. And Daniel was just like, and then Mark was like, nah, I'm just playing with you, just playing with you. So after that, he leaves. Then once he leaves, Daniel goes back to putting on his regular clothes that he had on. Then he pulls up the curtain that he had over her. And he was like, so why you lie about the wine? First of all, you didn't even give her a chance to explain herself. First of all, why she got to explain herself to you when she just met you? Like, it didn't make no sense. So, lo and behold, he's like looking on his phone. He goes to her pocketbook and like where the diamonds. And she's like, well, then eventually he didn't like what she said and he pulled the gun out to her, which was her own gun. He was like, well, I'll just kill you. She was like, well, if you kill me, then you would never know where the diamonds was. So he was like, yeah, so you admitted to knowing where the diamonds was. She was like, I didn't admit to anything. I just said what I said. That was it. So eventually they started tussling at each other and he just locked her back up to the chair. A few minutes before Nicole, it's so ominous about like her actions, but she's just constantly texting on her phone and like stuff like that. Eventually she ended up driving to the house, right? She, for some odd reason, she just goes and she ends up knocking Daniel onto the floor. And she was able to wait before she does that. Alicia, she had a lighter in her hand that she tried to like light her self on fire. Eventually, it set off the alarm, and then the security downstairs called and was trying to make sure everything was alright. Eventually, she said she was good and stuff like that. So then Nicole comes into the apartment, and she ends up knocking Daniel out, and she ends up letting Alicia go from the chair, and she goes to clean her stuff up because Nicole was like, listen, we got to call the police to let them know what's happening. She does that. And they fighting with... Wait. Oh, never mind, my bad. Yeah. Before, I'm missed this part. Before she was able to knock out Daniel, they were fighting, all three of them. So she knocked him out, and then Nicole was like, Alicia, you need to go put some clothes on, so when you call the police and you explain to them what happened, you're not there and you're negligent or whatever. So she does that. Eventually Alicia is dressed and she's kind of scared to come out the room, and Nicole tries to reassure her like, listen, he's dead. He's not going nowhere. So Alicia starts going to where they was at, and she starts picking something up off the floor. Eventually, she finds his phone, and then she sees text messages that says, Nicole, did you do it? Are you done yet? And stuff like that. It makes sense, like, And then Alicia was like to Nicole, what have I done to you? Like, I'm your best friend. And she was like, yeah, but you got $2 million in diamonds and I want the money. So then them two started going back and forth with it. I don't know. I guess the party upstairs was too loud that nobody heard the commotion. And let's just say Alicia, she ended up shooting Nicole. First, before she shoot her, Nicole ordered Alicia to go to the safe to see where the diamonds was. So she goes to the safe, which is behind a painting in the wall, and she pulls out. Before she about to do that, Nicole was like, "Nah, it might be a gun in it." So Nicole went to the safe and pulled out a bag of like diamonds. But when she pulled it out, it was just a couple things of red beans, right? So eventually, them two started fighting. Alicia, long story short, she ends up shooting Nicole 3 times. Once in the shoulder right here, and then 2 in the stomach, and then, she falls out. Then, the police come, and, they end up taking her to a hotel, And Marcus is still trying to get into contact with her, but Miss Valentine was like, listen, she's not here. She's at the hotel. So it pans through when they look through the house, look through the apartment. Y'all know where the diamonds was. She had the diamonds with her this whole entire time. When Daniel had pulled out all the stuff out of her pocketbook, it was a pill bottle, right? Tell me why all the diamonds was in a pill bottle. You know, some people is not going to suspect that that's where the valuables is because they just think it's medicine, you know, to make them feel better, whatever case may be. But that was pretty clever what she did. Like, you can't really trust everybody you meet. Like, they always got a hidden agenda. So my question is, like, how did Nicole really know Daniel, but come to find out Daniel's real name was Michael? Like, did she know him before meeting Alicia, or did she always have him as a secret person that just so happens to know Troy and Alicia, but not putting two and two together at the same time? That part was mind-boggling. But I hope you guys enjoyed the review of this movie. It felt like I was all over the place, but y'all kind of get the gist of the movie. Y'all can watch it on BET Plus. It's called Hello, starring Eva Marcille. So guys, that's it. And with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.